the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
And we're live. Thank you for joining us again on the Scottish Football Zone. We are on tonight to talk about the two matches in Europe for Dundee United and Hibs, respectively. Are also on to talk about Celtic's draw against Almaty and Rangers against Club Brugge, which we'll be talking about next week as well. Obviously, we should probably start with the match that's on at 8 o'clock tonight evening, and that's the one Dundee United entertain Rapid Vienna. Talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's at quarter to 8, but Dundee United have put themselves in a great position after last week's result in Vienna. The result of the week for the Scottish clubs, I know all of them done well last week, Rangers and Hibernian as well. But Dundee United to go over there against a big European club like Rapid Vienna and get a really positive draw. They had to weather a lot of storms, and Rapid Vienna probably could have scored more goals in the night, but the Tangerines took both the goals really well. Zachary Sapsford at the heart of both of them. And they put themselves in a great position to go on and win tonight at Tannadice. By no means is it going to be easy. Rapid Vienna are a really good team. They've started the Austrian Bundesliga season really well. 2 wins from 2. They beat last season's league winners, Sturm Graz, at the weekend on their own patch. So that's a near Champions League level quality team. Or it is a Champions League quality level team because Sturm Graz obviously made the Champions League last season. They're in the last round of qualifying this campaign. So that shows the real achievement of what Jim Goodwin and his, well, you could say new squad because of how many players he's signed already. The magnitude of the achievement of last week. And they put themselves in a really good position to cause another upset tonight.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about have we got team news yet, Ethan? Obviously,
yes, we do.
I was talking to a few of the guys at Dundee United earlier, and they were telling me a little few bits, but I'll get you to talk us through the teams.
It's the Dundee United have made one change from the result last week, and it's kind of a forced one. Isak Papel came off injured after 18 minutes last week and was replaced by Ivan Dolcek, who leads the joint top of the Scottish Premiership scoring charts, and he's into the starting 11 for this one. I'll just read the team out. So it's Kucherenko in goals, a back four of Karetsas, Esselink, Jovu and Sevelj. Midfield, well, possibly a midfield three of Sibbald, Kamara and Ferry, I would guess, with a sort of front three of Dolcek, Waters and Zachary Sapsford. So a strong team from United, and I imagine that the bench will have to play a big part as well because it'll be a really difficult game, as we said, but they've shown that they can compete with Vienna and they've put themselves in a real good position in front of I imagine, packed out Tannadice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good because I think in terms of the trying to get as many Scottish teams in Europe, it's so important even.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's great that we're still sitting here talking about the potential of 5 Scottish clubs being in Europe. 3 is what we've had over the last few seasons, but even to get 4 would be a massive achievement, and 5 would be a real statement of intent from the country moving forward, because we are in a really poor position coefficient-wise and need to pick up points wherever we can. And if Dundee United can do anything tonight, it would be a massive, massive result for the Scottish coefficient, but also them as a club. One of their historic results to remember. Rapid Vienna, obviously one of the biggest clubs in Austria. They haven't won the league in quite a while since the Red Bull Salzburg have emerged, and now Sturm Graz have won the last 2. So, but they're still a massive club across Europe. You look at some of the players they've turned over this season. They sold their record sale for €10 million, I think, a winger that was linked with Celtic this window. And they've also signed, looks like they're going to sign a Celtic winger, Marco Tilio, on a loan to buy option for around £2 million. So shows the kind of money that they've got in comparison to Dundee United, who are bringing in a lot of players on free transfers or loan to buy. So a massive night it was last Thursday for Dundee United, and hopefully they can go one step further and then they'll probably have an easier match if they go through.
Yeah, and obviously, I don't know about you, even, but I didn't expect Dundee United to get a 2-2 draw over in Vienna. I thought it would be a great night in Vienna for Dundee United because I thought they would get beat by a few goals, but fair play to them. They've managed to gel well. I know Jim Goodwin's been slated a lot by the Scottish media because he's not been able to bring in any Scottish type players, but I don't think any of the fans will be complaining if they can qualify for this.
Yeah, exactly, and it is difficult for Scottish clubs to keep a hold of their Scottish talents, as we've seen. I think there's something to do with Brexit. I don't want to get into politics, with Premier League clubs sweeping up all of the UK's best talent, pretty much, which leaves Scottish clubs with little pool of talent. Obviously, there has still been a few players that have broke through. Lennon Miller, perfect example. Obviously, just signed for Udinese in Serie A. But yeah, really unexpected. I couldn't have seen that coming. Dundee United, and the first European game they played against Strassen, although they won both games 1-0, they were poor. And then at the weekend, or the first week of the season, they started with not the worst result at Falkirk and a 2-each draw, but if you're looking to play Rapid Vienna, then you're looking to beat Falkirk. It's not the best sort of game to give you confidence, but credit that they went over there and took a massive support and made a memorable night for those supporters that obviously made the travel, and they'll be hoping that they can make another memorable night in front of, as I said, I imagine a packed out Tannadice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you even, but I just think it's so important that these clubs get through because the better level of ranking we've got is so important for the overall nation because we don't want to be playing 2 or 3 qualifiers every team every year. It just becomes more and more difficult because there's more money involved in football and stuff like that. So I feel like in terms of what Dundee United and as we'll get on to with David Gray and his team later on, but I just feel like this is a big opportunity that they hopefully won't let away because you don't want to. You want to take these chances.
Yeah, exactly. It is a massive chance that they've presented themselves with, and I didn't give them really a fighting chance at all going into the first game. So credit to Jim Goodwin and the players that they've even put themselves into this position. And if they go out tonight, then it's no slight on Dundee United. The financial difference between them and Rapid Vienna is quite hefty, but they put themselves in a great position, and if they give it a good shot, then you never know. And as you said, it contribute massively towards the coefficient for Scotland as a country. And then they go into the next round either playing against AIK or AIK of Sweden or Gyoro ETO of Hungary. And I believe AIK won the first leg 2-1 in Sweden, and I believe the second leg's going on just now, and that would be an easier opponent for Dundee United, but obviously massive task on their hands to even get through tonight. It is going to be really difficult for them.
Yeah, and I think in terms of what the manager there is doing, obviously he was going through a bad time at Aberdeen. Obviously the Dravo and the El Sakiko when he was up against Lee Johnson at Easter Road when he walked off with his bag on his back. These were bad times for the manager, but he seems to have been able to rebuild himself as well.
Yeah, exactly that. And he's rebuilt the squad again this season after a really successful campaign last year. They get they get 4th place, of course, to get Europe. Aberdeen 45th, but obviously get into Europe through the Scottish Cup victory. And a really good season for Dundee United after just coming up. So, and then the amount of players they've turned over from last season that have obviously went back to their clubs because they had a lot of loans. And then they brought in a whole new squad. I mean, I'll double check the team tonight, but the vast majority of those players are fresh players coming in this window. So it shows the sort of squad turnover, and they look good. I know they lost the Hearts at the weekend, but they did look good in that match, and you'd fancy Hearts to be one of the stronger teams in the league. So I think Dundee United, first of all, they'll be looking at survival. I know they got fourth last season, but coupling other teams in the league getting stronger along with European football, Dundee United will be looking at the priority of just staying in the league and making themselves a Premiership club, because obviously they did get relegated a few seasons ago. But anything more than that will be a bonus. And you imagine Jim Goodwin's got a lot of faith from the club and the fans also.
Yeah, I just wanted to you to tell us the lineups again, just for anyone that's just joined us.
Yeah, so it says here, in goals is Yevgeny Kucherenko, a back four of Bert Esselink, Christian Keretsas, Yuri Yovu, and Vico Savelj. And then a midfield sort of five of Ivan Dolcek, Will Ferry, Craig Sibbald, Panucci Kamara, and Zachary Sapsud, with Max Waters up front. I'm not sure if it'll be strictly that formation, but that's the 11 that starts, and only one change from last week's result in the Austrian capital.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Dolcek. I don't know what you made of him so far.
Yeah, no, he's looked really good, and he couldn't even get in the starting 11 last week, which shows that despite Dundee United bringing in so many new faces, they seem to be really gelling well. And although, as I mentioned, the performances haven't always been there, Jim Goodwin's obviously happy with a lot of the players. I think the standouts have probably been Zachary Sapsford, the striker they got from the A-League in Australia, and I think Panucci Kamara's been very good as well in midfield. The defenders have been less so, I would say. Some clumsy moments from them, I would say, so far, but it's a long season, and they'll have time to prove themselves. And obviously, they defended well for the most part last week. But I do think for the two goals Rapid Vienna scored, they were cheap goals for Dundee United to give up. But no, Ivan Dolcek, top scorer in the Premiership at the moment, so obviously shows that he's doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had some really bad results over the past few years. We've had Rangers and Progress Indercorn. We've had Motherwell going away to Shamrock Rovers and teams like that. So this would be a really big moment for Scottish football.
Yeah, be massive. And yeah, it can't be understated how big of a result this would be for Dundee United. I don't know if what kind of comparison I'm trying to make. But I don't think it's quite as similar as maybe Celtic beating Bayern Munich, but financially, comparison-wise, it's definitely certainly close to that. So yeah, I think a massive night for Dundee United, and if they can get through, then a massive result for them. And I just checked there, so they've got 8 new players, summer signings in the starting 11, so only 3 players from last season's squad. So yeah, I had a massive turnover for Dundee United, but it's worked out well so far, and hopefully it continues into tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to end this, Ethan, and it's to ask you for a prediction for Rapid Vienna and Dundee United at Tannadice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult for Dundee United, but I've got to have faith in the Scottish club, so I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on the night, and Dundee United to advance through on penalties.
Oh, I'm sorry to put it down on Ethan, but I'm going to go for Dundee United 0, Rapid Vienna 3.
Oh,
I think they'll be.
As I doubt that.
I think they'll be far too strong. I think they will.
Possibly. My result is more going with my Scottish heart rather than my head, to be honest. But no, Dundee United, you never know. They obviously went over there and made a really good account of themselves, so you don't know. But as you said, Rapid Vienna will be big favourites, especially after the result out of the weekend. I mean, going to a Champions League club and beating them on their own patches. No easy thing to do. So, yeah, it shows the magnitude of what Dundee United done last week, and regardless of the result tonight, that'll be a memorable night, and it should be seen as a massive achievement for them.
And obviously, I've been told by people at Dundee United today that it's potentially going to be a sellout tonight. So hopefully that'll drive on the players as well.
Yeah, hopefully, and yeah, hopefully they really get a good go at it, and the players don't have any regrets on the night. They give it their best shot, and you never know what can happen. You're just hoping it's not the same for Dundee United. I know it was different circumstances, but that AZ Alkmaar tie where they obviously won at home at Tannadice. I think they won. They either won or they drew. I'm pretty sure they won at home against AZ Alkmaar, and then obviously went over
Yeah,
to
they
the
did.
Netherlands and get beat 7-0. And obviously different circumstances because they went over, they done their away leg first and get a really positive result. But yeah, you don't want to come back and Rapid Vienna thump them because I think that is definitely on the cards with the quality they have. But yeah, hopefully Dundee United put in a really good performance and make another historic night for them as a club and for Scottish football and European football in general.
Yeah, hopefully, from Scottish football point of view, they can go on and they can do well. And also, I would just say thank you to the loads of people that are watching. We're close to over 60 watching. So thank you, and please make sure that you smash that subscribe button for the Scottish Football Zone because it's so important because we are providing Scottish football talking points, breaking news, and we're talking over lots of stuff. So please make sure you smash that subscribe button, please.
Yeah,
The next, I just wanted to go on, Ethan, and talk now about the amazing result last week we've seen in Belgrade for David Gray's team because I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I expected Hibs to go over there and compete. I had Partizan Belgrade is around a similar, maybe just below the level of FC Midtjylland, who Hibernian obviously done really well against, going toe to toe, and it was just that last minute overhead kick in the extra time, which obviously put them out, and it was really heartbreaking for them at Easter Road. But no, a great result, and sets them up brilliantly going back to Easter Road. A 2-0 lead going back to your old place is a great result. And as long as Hibs' mentality is there on the night, they perform well, and David Gray gets the right message across to them, then they should be through. It's not going to be easy. Partizan Belgrade are a good side across Europe. They're usually qualifying for the European competitions. They haven't won the league in a while. Serbia, Red Star dominating that, but very much the second best team in Serbia, and it would be a massive scalp for David Gray to take. And again, I think I've said it, FC Midtjylland to Partizan Belgrade is maybe a step down in quality, and maybe even you're looking at another step down in quality in the next round. And I know this is all hypothetical and on paper, but if Hibs go through tonight, they'll have real confidence going into the next round, which is against let me double check. It's either Legia Warsaw or Apollon Limassol, I think it is.
Yep.
So Apollon won the first leg 4-0 in Cyprus, so they're looking like favourites to go through that one.
Am I right in saying that Apollon have got is it Conor Goldson?
No, it's not. It's not Apollon actually. It's one of the other. I think it's definitely a team from Cyprus. Let me see. Oh, it's AK Larnaca. Sorry, and I think it's Eris Limassol that Conor Goldson plays for. So yeah, there's a lot of Limassol teams in the separate division, but AK Larnaca are the team that Hibs could face in the next round. They beat Legia Warsaw 4-1 in Cyprus. they play tonight also at 8 o'clock. And the interesting thing, I was looking into it, AEK Larnaca, their season hasn't started yet. In the last round, they beat a team from Slovenia 3-2. But in the round before that, they beat Partizan Belgrade on penalties. So that's something you could sort of maybe gauge Hibs against, depending on how they get on tonight.
So what is the score with FC Larnaca?
AEK Larnaca beat Legia Warsaw 4-1 in the first leg, so they're
very
massive
good.
favourites to go through.
Because I would say that you would potentially want to play Larnaca anyway, because you don't want to play Warsaw. I mean, going away to Warsaw would be a difficult venue. I know that probably people would say that the polls are maybe not doing too well at the moment, but they've got a very good pedigree in Europe.
Yeah, exactly that. And they've fallen off a little bit in recent years since going back to the times where they played against Celtic in a few Champions League qualifiers. But yeah, I think it really encouraging that the fact that, and I know it doesn't always work like this, but that Larnaca beat Partizan on penalties. And as I said, if Hibs can go out and win again tonight, that would give a real sign of confidence to the fans, David Gray and the players ahead of that tie. And then we really could start licking our lips at the prospect of 4 teams in league phase football. And I believe that would be the first time ever that Scotland had achieved 4 teams in European competition proper.
And also, don't forget, even we've got Aberdeen as well, so we could have potentially 5.
No, yeah, I know Aberdeen, Celtic and Rangers are obviously guaranteed, but I was just meaning that if Hibs get through the tonight, then I think they've got a real chance. I think Dundee United's obviously more difficult. They need to get through tonight first before they can even think about the next round, and it will be really difficult for them. But Hibs have put themselves in a really good position, and they've got a really good tie on the horizon. And if they play right, they keep their mentality right, and they keep playing the way they do. I know they dropped a 2-0 lead at the weekend against Kilmarnock, and that brilliant Brian Brandon goal for Kelly. But hopefully they don't drop a 2-0 lead tonight, and they'll be comfortable and through to the next round.
I mean, obviously, me and you were on Sunday, and you told me that Brian Brandon had scored. But what a goal! I mean, I watched it as soon as we come off air. I mean, I watched the match on the TV, but what a goal! What a goal!
Yeah, that's goal of the season so far, without doubt, and I think it'll take some beating as just a ridiculous goal from him. And I doubt that we'll see a better goal in the Scottish Premiership this season. I mean, I'm open to it. I'm not saying that I don't want there to be. I hope there's 5 more goals at that level, but no, the sort of technique and the finish, it's just unsavable. A really difficult goal to score for him as well, and he's a great up and coming talent in the Scottish Premiership, a Scottish player that's been kept by his club, and he's been played, and Kilmarnock have just signed him to a long-term contract as well. So they'll be definitely sort of rubbing their hands together, looking at the prospect of selling him for a lot of money possibly in the future.
Yeah, obviously, we'll talk about the team news soon for Hibs, but I just wanted to ask you, because I've got a comment here from Leo Hedges, and he's saying that he thinks they'll bottle it. I mean, for me, I think they were in pretty much control last week. It was a difficult match for them, but I see Hibs doing pretty well tonight. As long as they can go through the first half and be sort of 0-0 at best, then I think they'll be doing okay. But I'm still getting nightmares even after watching the Spurs game last night. You know, I was jumping about my room at 5 minutes to go, 2-0 up, you know, and then bang, bang, 2 goals from PSG.
Yeah.
You know, I was just about to go on the Thomas de Frank engine, ready to enjoy my night, and then all of a sudden, no, PSG, 2 goals.
Yeah, football can change very quickly, and 2-0. I think the saying is it's what is it? Is it a dangerous lead?
Yeah.
So if Partizan Belgrade get one goal tonight, any time tonight, then there's going to be pressure if Hibs don't score. So Hibs need to go into the game looking to win again, and I'm sure that'll be the mentality that David Gray will sort of say to his players, just play the same as you did over there. You were good, and obviously Partizan Belgrade got that red card, which helps Hibs a lot, but they still were playing well before that, and I think that'll be what the message he'll put across is that you went there and really showed yourselves on a really difficult stage, a really hostile atmosphere, and came away with an excellent result. 2 goals from Barton Boyle now, obviously in the 100 club for the Hibs. Massive achievement for him, and what a great servant he's been. And yeah, I didn't get to watch the game, but from what I've seen and heard, Kieran Bowie looked brilliant again. I know he wasn't directly involved in any of the goals, but he obviously gets the second yellow card for Vukasin Djurdjevic, the defender that gets sent off in the first half, and then he wins the penalty in the second half. So Boyle and Bowie looking like a really good strike force, maybe one of the best in the league at the moment. So yeah, Hibs are looking really good, and hopefully they can carry that into tonight and book their place in the next round, where they'll be, I would say, possibly slight favourites.
What I would say to Leo is, please make sure you tune in, because if Hibs do bottle it, we'll be reacting to it at 10 p.m. on the Scottish Football Zone. So please make sure you subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone YouTube channel and be there for 10 o'clock, where Michael will take you through to react. But yeah, I just wanted to go through the squads for tonight. Have you managed to see the squads for tonight, Ethan?
Yeah, they should be out now. Let me see. Yes, I've got them in front of me. So in goals is Jordan Smith. I would imagine it's a sort of back 3/5 with John Nabita, Jack Iredale, Rocky Bashiri, and Warren Ahora, with Chris Cadden at wing back, Dylan Levitt, Josh Mulligan, and Josh Campbell in midfield, with Martin Boyle and Kieran Bowie up top. So I'm trying to see how many changes that is from the team that obviously won 2-0 over in Serbia last week. The notable absentee is Jamie McGrath. So I don't know why he is he on the bench. Because you would imagine he would start a game like this. No, he's not on the bench, so that must be. I don't know if maybe David Gray's touched on it before, if he's got an injury, but he's not in the squad, so he must be out through injury, Jamie McGrath. And that would be a concern for Hibs, because obviously he started the season really well when he's one of their creative bright sparks.
Yeah, I mean, tell us about the bench, Ethan, because I'm interested to see what sort of firepower David Gray's got on the bench.
They've got 2 goalkeepers, Johnson, and then they've got the new signer Salinger. They've got Grant Hanley, who obviously made his debut at the weekend, Megwat, Nicky Cadden, Mane, McIntyre, Junior Hoylett, who started at the weekend, along with Eli Yuan, and then they've got Molotnikov and the record signing Thibault Clichy, who's not really appeared much. He's played 1 minute in the Scottish Premiership. And yeah, so the Hibs, I think they should have enough on the night. Jamie McGrath will obviously be a big miss, but they should have enough.
Yeah, obviously the Gorgie Boys podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that, because they do some great content. Graham's a good guy. He was down at Anfield this week, seeing the stadium. Great to see you, Graham. Anytime you want to come on the Scottish Football Zone, you're more than welcome, mate. And please make sure you subscribe as well, Graham, because it's so important. But Graham is saying, what's the Partizan team, Ethan?
Okay, I'll read it out for him. So they're looking like a 4-3-3. In goals is Milosevic, a back four of Djurcevic, Simic, Milic, and Roganevic. A midfield three of Ugrisic, Vikotic, Dragocevic, and a front three of Trifanovic, Milosevic, and Kostic. So a lot of Itchies, a
See,
full 11 of Itchies.
See, that's why I pay even big money to come on this show, Graham, because he comes up with these big pronunciations. You know, I would still be pronouncing the first guy's name, Graham. You know, I'd be getting caught up in all the drama. But no, that's why I've got Ethan on the show with me tonight. And Graham he's saying well done for doing that there.
Thank you.
Because it would be interesting to get Graham on sometime to talk about Hearts, because they're starting really well, even.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people predicted them for third place finish with Aberdeen and Hibs being in Europe. Hibs have started the season really well, but obviously they'll look to qualify for Europe, and that'll be a disadvantage, no doubt, in the league. Whereas Hearts have got just the league to focus on. Obviously, the two cups, which in the Premier Sports Cup they've started really well. Difficult tie against Mirren though this weekend, but in the league they've got two really good results. I don't think the performance, I didn't get to catch the game at Tannadice, but I heard the performance wasn't always there. But sometimes you just need to grind out results, and that's what they've done with two massive headers from Stuart Finlay, who's joint top goal scorer along with Dundee United's Ivan Dolchuk.
So when you're saying that a lot of people are tipping the Jambos for third place, there's quite a few people that are tipping the Jambos to split Celtic and Rangers. A certain man from Jamestown Analytics, Tony Bloom as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think a lot of people are getting caught up on what Tony Bloom's saying, but I think I don't understand it. I think you welcome someone that has that ambition to the league, and he's obviously proven that he can do that in other places. Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium, he obviously won them their first league title in 90 years last season, so there's no reason why he can't do it. But as we know, that Scotland's a different, a completely different story, and we always say that our football is completely different. So no, he's got a massive task on his hands to even split the old firm, I would say. But he says he can win a Scottish Premiership in the next decade. So yeah, I hope that he's true to his word, because it would be very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, even I know Graham, you've talked to us about the Scottish, about the ranking for Europe, but it'd be interesting to see if he's supporting his local rivals tonight. If you could comment, Graham, and let us know if you're supporting David Gray's boys tonight and you're hoping to improve the Scottish ranking in Europe. But thank you for being in touch, mate. Graham's also saying it's a great start for us, but a long season ahead. He's not able to complain. I mean, that's a good point, even in terms of you. I think you were saying it earlier, in terms of it's not been free flowing from Hearts, but it's been job done, and you just, I think you just need to look at what Celtic and Rangers have done over the past few weeks. Celtic and Rangers have been far from impressive, but Celtic have got 6 points and Rangers have got 2 points. So it just shows you it's not how you start the matches, it's how you end the matches. Hearts have got 2 wins from 2.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's what it's about, grinding out results at the end of the day, and that's what Hearts have done. I thought they were really impressive against Aberdeen, especially, and in the Premier Sports Cup they made light work of the teams they were up against, as you would probably expect, but they still need to go and they still need to go and get the results, and they did that. So yeah, a really good start to the season from Hearts, and who obviously already got a lead on Rangers of their target in that second place. But as we've seen with Aberdeen last season, I think they were 9 points clear of Rangers at one point, and yeah, it's never, you can't call it too early. We're 2 games into the season. I still believe that Celtic and Rangers will finish first and second. But yeah, I'm open to the idea of someone else being able to crack the top 2, because it would really make for great entertainment in Scottish football.
I'm sure obviously Graham will have something to say about that, especially with that Claudio Braga song. All we hear is Claudio Braga. But I mean, I think it's going to be interesting this season. And like Graham says there, he's been diplomatic about it. He's saying that he hopes that Hibs and both Dundee United will go through, as we need to raise the ranking for the coefficient.
Yeah, I think that's the opinion of a lot of Scottish football fans, that supporting the other clubs that might not always be the fondest when it comes to domestic football. But yeah, helping the coefficient is a group task, and it needs to be a group task. Otherwise, Scottish football will sort of fall away in a European sense. And I mean, Graham says there, but Hibs qualifying for League Phase football, as I said, I think it will only help them domestically, because it'll only help Hearts domestically, because it's more football for Hibs to play, more distractions. And yeah, we've seen in the past how European football affects the teams in Scotland, obviously out with Celtic and Rangers, who have usually have the squads to combat both.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about David Gray for a bit, because I was critical last season. I said that he should have been sacked. I said it was wrong for the board to keep him. But what do I know, and I'm still here to tell the tale, you know? And obviously, Michael's not chucked me off the show yet. So, what see in terms of that sentiment that David Gray should have been sacked? Well, what about you? Did you feel the same way at the time?
Yeah. Yeah, I would admit
Yeah.
that I was in the same boat as a lot of people, and we all look back and we were wrong. Hibs were right, and that's sometimes what you need to do with managers, and we possibly get a very similar situation brewing at Rangers at the moment. There's a lot of not fans calling for his head at this point, but there is some sections of the Rangers support calling for Russell Martin's head this early. He's obviously under a lot of pressure, but the 49ers consortium have appointed him for a reason. They obviously believe in what he can do, and so I think that they'll hold on to him for a while and hope that he turns it around, because that's what David Gray done, and look at the benefits Hibs have reaped from keeping with him and staying with him through a tough time. And it wasn't that bad. It was a poor start to the season, but you look at the way they turned it around in the end. I know they didn't do too well in the cups. Obviously, they went out at both of them at Celtic Park, which, I mean, it's just luck of the draw, really, isn't it? But to come third and start this season really well in Europe, and obviously a disappointing result of the weekend, but not the worst start to the league season. So yeah, you've got to give massive credit to Hibs for sticking with their man, and he's repaid their faith.
Yeah, and obviously, who do you feel will be a big player tonight for Hibs in terms of if they are to make it through?
That's a good question. I think Kieran Bowie again. He's been one of their main players this season, and I think just the sort of hold-up play that he can. He possesses the ability to win fouls. Obviously, he won 2 massive fouls in Belgrade.
Yeah.
Then I think a lot of the time Hibs are going to be under the cosh tonight. They're playing against a really good team, and they'll have to be points in the game when they don't have a lot of the ball. But I think they can use him as an out ball. He can win fouls and just hold up the ball well, like he has done this season. Another one, maybe I'll say Rocky Bashiri, because I think Hibs will need to do a lot of defending. Hopefully they'll be hoping they won't, but
see, on these 2 players, I mean, I remember this time last year there wasn't really an enthusiasm about Bowie being in the squad. There also wasn't a very big enthusiasm about Rocky Bashiri at the start of last season and before. But these two have turned into so important players for Hibs.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with Rocky Bashiri. I think, in fairness to Kieran Bowie, he did obviously have that terrible injury at the start of last season. I remember him playing against Celtic at Easter Road, and he looked really promising as a player, and he looked like a sort of striker that had it all. And obviously, he didn't really get a consistent basis of minutes due to that massive injury and getting up the fitness, but if he can stay injury free, then I think he's got a massive season ahead of him for Hibs. And for Rocky Bashiri, he's just went in leaps and bounds since he was doubted by a lot of Hibs fans and a lot of Scottish football fans as well, saying he's not good enough and all the rest of it. But I think he's proven that he's one of the best defenders in the league now. And again, credit to Hibs and David Gray for sticking with him. And yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say to you as well, just before we go, we've obviously got 4 minutes to go, but I just wanted to ask you about Bowie, because I'm interested, because we are struggling as a national team, Scotland, for strikers. I just feel like he could be the perfect man to take us forward.
Yeah, exactly that. I would completely agree. I think he is, as I said, I think he's got everything that you would want from a striker. He's tall, he's pretty quick, he's strong, he can pin defenders, he's got good hold up play, decent link up play, he's got a good strike, he knows where the back of the net is. So I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread, but on paper and watching it with your eyes, he looks like he's got everything he needs to be a real top player. And as long as he can stay fit, as I said, then Hibs have got a real talent in their hands, and hopefully he can keep progressing throughout the season and really make a dent, both in Scottish football and maybe on a national stage if Steve Clarke chooses to pick him, and hopefully he does, because I don't really see any reason why he shouldn't be picked.
Yeah, I mean, there's over 100 people watching live. Thank you very much for watching live. Please subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone YouTube channel. It's up at the top of the page. You can just type it into YouTube, Scottish Football Zone, and you'll find us there. I just wanted to ask you for a prediction, Ethan.
My prediction, I think I'm going to go with another Hibs win. I don't think it'll be as convincing, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 Hibs win, 4-1 on aggregate, and to take massive confidence into the playoff round.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we do a lot of shows for the Scottish teams in Europe, and I think the actual response we get is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for tuning in. The only other piece of news we have at the moment is that Rangers will play against Bruges on Tuesday night at Ibrox. What do you make of that, Ty, Ethan?
Yeah, I think very difficult, but we've known for a while now that one was coming. I think we expected Club Brugge to beat Salzburg, and Salzburg put up a really good fight. They were leading in the second leg and across the tie for a bit, but Club Brugge come back and win on the night and win on aggregate, and yeah, they're a top European season Champions League side. So Rangers will need to perform the two best performances of the season so far, and maybe that's not a sort of high bar they need to reach, but they'll need to be their two best performances and some to have any chance of getting through. But they've shown in the past in Europe that they can defy the odds, and they'll be hoping that they can. If I had to be honest, I would fancy Club Brugge to go through over two legs, but that's not to say Rangers can't cause another upset like they have done in the past.
From watching Rangers over the past couple of games, the biggest thing for me is they're playing okay football, but I think they're letting the opposition have too many shots at goal. I mean, they let Victoria Pilsen have over 10 shots. If you're going to let a team have over 10 shots in a game, then a better team like Bruges, like Celtic, like Man United, like any top European team, is going to take their chances.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's the thing. Panathinaikos and maybe less so Victoria Pilsen had a lot of the game against Rangers in both legs. Victoria Pilsen less so, but in the second leg they dominated. But they just didn't take their chances at all. I think Victoria Pilsen, I know a lot of people don't like that stat, but I do. Victoria Pilsen created, I think, 3.6 expected goals or something in the second leg and only scored once. So, yeah, I think teams, as you said, when you get to the upper echelon of European football, and the teams will just take a chance. That's it. They only need a half chance. If you give them it, they'll take it. And that's what Club Brugge will be. They'll be they'll be the most difficult team Rangers will play until league phase football. You would have to imagine at this point with how Celtic squad's looking. So, yeah, I think it'll be a massive task for Rangers, but that's not to say they can't upset the odds.
Yeah, and just finally, Celtic have been drawn in Europe against Almaty from Kazakhstan. I mean, people are saying it's the dreaded one, it's the journey. But I think if you ever Celtic a chance to play Almaty to get through to the European group stage, you'd have bit your hand off. I mean, you said it yourself about potentially being drawn against Basel, Stuttgart, people like that. I mean, people are going on about the long journey, this, the long journey, that. Celtic have been drawn against Almaty of Kazakhstan for a place at the Champions League group phase.
Yeah, exactly that. And Celtic, I think the sort of nervousness from their fans comes a lot from the lack of signings, the lack of the squad being strengthened, especially in the attacking areas. But Celtic should still have more than enough to take care of Kairat Almaty over 2 legs, regardless of the, I think, nearly 35-hour round trip they'll have to make days before heading to Ibrox. So not ideal as the travelling is, but that's what you have to do. And they obviously, Kairat Almaty, have to do the same. So Celtic need to take advantage of that in the first leg, because the last 3 times Celtic have played in the Champions League qualifying playoffs, they've lost the away legs 8-4 on aggregate. So not the, I would say Celtic are probably in the best place as a club compared to those seasons. But still, it's not a very nice stat to read as a Celtic fan, I would imagine. And Celtic fans will want them just to win the first leg by a good, comfortable margin. I'm saying 3-0 would be a really good result for Celtic to take over there and give them a lot of confidence, because, as you said, Kairat Almaty is the team you would pick from that draw, and it would be an absolute embarrassment if Celtic didn't get through.
I just don't understand the negativity about it, because Celtic have 4 points clear Rangers already. If Rangers win the game, worst case scenario for a Celtic supporter, then Celtic are still in control of the league title. This first Rangers Celtic match is not going to determine who wins the title. It's just, you know what I mean? It's a long old season, and I just feel like if you'd offered a Celtic supporter to go to Kazakhstan to get through, they should be biting your hand off for it.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think if Celtic were drawn against most of the other teams they could have went up against, the Basels and the Sturm Graz, as you mentioned, and there would be probably rightful sort of panicking because of the lack of strengthening Celtic have done to that first 11. But that team should still be more than good enough to beat Kairat Almaty. This is a team that have the best competition they've ever made in Europe is the Europa Conference League. They've only made group stage or league phase football once. The squad is probably around the same valuation of a sort of, you're looking at a maybe even below the level of Hearts, Hibs and Aberdeen, slightly below, maybe slightly above the rest of the Scottish Premiership. So I know that's looking at it on paper, and you've obviously got a massive trip to make. They've got a very talented young player as well, with 17-year-old who's already been signed by Chelsea. So they've got some good players, and of course they've progressed past Slovan Bratislava, who Celtic met last season. But as I said, anything but a win for Celtic, and it is the ultimate embarrassment. And Some would say it's only what maybe the Celtic board deserve with the lack of strengthening they've done in attacking areas.
Yeah, definitely. Because Celtic need 4 players in, and they need them in pronto, as they say in the west of Scotland. I just want you to tell us the Hibs team one more time for people just tuning in for the first time. But I don't know why you've waited 50 minutes to tune in, because it's been a great show.
Yeah. So the back five, in goal, Jordan Smith. Back five, John Abita, Jack Ardale, Rocky Bashira, and Warren O'Hora. With Chris Cadden at right back, Dylan Levitt and Josh Mulligan, partnered and Josh Campbell in midfield, with a front two of 100 club Martin Boyle and Kieran Bowie, with no Jamie McGrath in the starting 11 or bench. I'm guessing he is injured. We'll obviously hear more on that from David Gray, I would imagine. But a big miss from Hibs, but they still should have enough on the night with that 2-goal cushion to hopefully advance.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2.
Fair enough. But I think Hibs would take that. So yeah, I think the only other game that Scottish related, I think we've mentioned who Hibs and Dundee United could play. The only other game of interest is FCSB v Drita. KF Drita, who are the champions of Kosovo, FCSB, the champions of Romania, because the winner of that match will play Aberdeen in the playoff round. And FCSB have looked poor domestically and in Europe this season, which will encourage Aberdeen fans, although Aberdeen...
What is the score? What is the score from first leg for that game?
Well, the first leg score was 3-2 to FCSB in Bucharest, but they are already winning 2-0 in Kosovo 26 minutes in, so 5-2 in aggregate. It looks like it'll be FCSB who Aberdeen play in that playoff round, which will be a difficult game, but going off form, FCSB don't look like the same team they maybe were last season when they done really well in Europa League, although they did get thrashed at Ibrox.
Yeah, but also it's so important that Aberdeen strengthen, because I watched Aberdeen on Sunday against Celtic. So it'll be an interesting tie. Thank you to over the 100 people watching. It's so good to be on. Yeah, thank you, Ethan, for joining me. Are you going to be back at 10 o'clock with Michael?
Yes, I will be. I'll be back here, hopefully, raving about 2 more Scottish clubs making progress in Europe.
Hopefully, Ethan, and this is the only place where you can watch a lot of Scottish football, talking, debating, talking over a lot of issues. And thank you for joining us, and make sure you subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone. We'll see you again at 10 p.m. Thank you.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone.